Paulie, we've just seen Kel, obviously devastated with defeat, but from where you were sat, what did you make to his performance?
I thought it was a brilliant performance, even in defeat. I think it's the kind of performance where he might have even raised his stock because, unfortunately, and it's not right, Kel had a tremendous amount of stock in the UK, but in the US and overseas, he didn't have the stock I felt he always deserved. I always rated Kel very high as a top fighter in the world and possibly the best welterweight in the world. You know, so I feel like maybe this fight, because they know Golovkin so well across the pond, they see how he handled Golovkin in those spots. It gave him maybe his toughest fight of his career, and I think he can gain that respect in defeat, even from pundits who didn't know him so well. So I think, even despite the defeat tonight, he may have done more than he did in any of his wins, which really says a lot because he has a terrific win over Sean Porter, who's a very good fighter. But the problem with Sean Porter is he didn't have the international recognition Golovkin has, you know, and so Golovkin having that international recognition, this performance resonates more with more of the world's population and the world's boxing fans. And having seen it, it was also an entertaining fight. He showed courage. He showed character in the way that he didn't panic despite being hurt in the fight early, coming back, staying calm enough to assault Golovkin in his own moments as well. Then he might have even broken his orbital bone later on in the fight, still remained calm enough to continue to assault Golovkin in moments. Credit to Golovkin, he stayed calm and kept it fundamentally and technically sound despite showing a little bit of frustration, and that's a credit to Kel. But Golovkin stayed calm as well and eventually got the finish. I think it was a highly entertaining fight. The atmosphere in the crowd made it even more entertaining. Deservedly, I think both guys will gain stock from this fight, and I think people will talk about this fight. But at the end of the night, I'll say this. I think people will leave tonight talking more about Kell Brook than Gennady Golovkin, despite Gennady Golovkin having got the win.
The special one, Special Kell Brook!
When you look at Kel, the way that he came out and he took Golovkin's best shots and he still came back, what does that tell you about a fighter?
You know, he took some really hard shots from Golovkin. In round one, the fight could have ended with that hook he took. But it was weird because not only did he take that shot and get hurt, he came back, stayed calm, and then literally assaulted Golovkin in the remainder of the round. I mean, I gave the round 10-10. I just couldn't give Golovkin the round because Kel landed such solid combinations the remainder of the round. It wasn't just, oh, he came back with a decent shot. He came back and just put shots together. Just resonating shots that really caught your eye and got the crowd going. So, that showed character right there. Then even despite that, he took another shot later in the fight. It might have broke his orbital bone. He still stayed calm enough to stay in the pocket because if you overcommit the defense, you can't counter. And if you don't end up countering Golovkin in the correct spots, he's going to have no fear of coming forward. Kel wanted to make sure Golovkin had fear of coming forward. And in moments, he stopped him from coming forward. In my opinion, the only reason Golovkin didn't stop coming completely forward is because Kel's not a natural middle. If Kel has the same punching power at middle that he has at welter, because if he's a natural middle, I'm telling you, Golovkin may have the best chin and he may stand up, but he probably thinks twice about the amount of pressure he puts on Kel. You know what I'm saying? If there's one flaw in Golovkin, he doesn't move his head. I think Kel showed that tonight. But Golovkin remained calm. You got to give him that credit, and he continued to stay fundamentally sound in his assault. And the fundamentals eventually will always get somebody out of there if you can punch behind the fundamentals. I got to say, Kel also on defense, he rolled well with the shots. Sometimes I think there was a point in round 3 where it was a really big round for Golovkin, and Kel got trapped against the ropes, and it looked like he took a bunch of shots, but a lot of them didn't land clean. Because let's face it, come on. I mean, anybody who thinks they landed clean is on some kind of drugs. Because if Kel took all those shots clean from Golovkin, he might still be sleeping. You know what I mean? So clearly, there was something in Kel. He was riding along. He was riding very well with the shots. Going with them, therefore taking some of the sting off them, some of the momentum off them. And then what happened? He came back around 4 and had a really good round, and I gave him the round. So a skillful performance, a determined performance, and a performance full of character. It's really underrated. Character is really misunderstood sometimes in this sport. People don't understand how much it really counts, how much it really matters. People talk about determination and heart, but the combination of a lot of things. Staying calm under fire is one thing. Staying calm under fire with enough focus to execute your game plan despite that fire is even an even more esteemed amount of character. And for me, that's what I give Kell Brook the most credit for tonight.
And how important was it that Dom made the stoppage when he did?
I think Dom made the correct stoppage at the right time. If anybody knows Kell Brook in the gym more than Dominic Ingle, I don't think I believe it. He's had Kell since he's a kid. I think he knew other times during the fight when Kell took the Golovkin assault, which is a very good assault, a very powerful assault. He was confident that Kel could come back and assault him back, and he was right. You know, Kel did come back and assault him back, but I think at a certain point he realized, I don't think my guy has anything more to give. There's been other times in this fight where my guy could come back and assault him right back. What I see in my guy, and I know my guy better than anybody else, I don't think my guy can come back and assault this guy anymore. He's given all he can give, and I think it's time to stop it. Keep in mind, he also may have had a broken orbit bone, so you're not seeing clearly. I've had the same injury, you know, you're seeing weird things, you're feeling weird things. There's nerves in this part of your face connected to your teeth. When I had that injury, I remember, and I got it from a left hook too. I remember feeling like weird sensations, tingly sensations that went in my face to my teeth. I remember wondering if my teeth were in my mouth still or not. You know, it's weird. It's a weird sensation. Luckily they were, but it's a weird sensation, and I could see Kel pawing at his face, and I could almost imagine. It almost took me back to the moments I felt the same thing in my fight with Miguel Cotto so many years ago. That wondering what is this feeling I'm feeling in my face, and I could see Kel like touching his face probably, and I'm thinking he's probably wondering what are these weird tingly feelings he's getting. You know, so I think it was the right time. You know. I broke my orbit bone in round 2. I ended up going 12-round distance. And what ends up happening is you're getting hit on top of a broken bone. A broken bone that will already swell. It will already show damage. But now, because it's being hit more, it's being broken even worse. It's getting cracked even worse. And I ended up needing surgery, and it kept me out of the ring for a long time, you know? So I think if Kell Brook, we don't know, because he may have broken it in round 2 or 3, and it still went to round 5. So we don't know that for sure. But if Dom's stoppage means Kell can come back much sooner from the injury than he would have. And you know what? He's already done a really good thing, because regardless, you would have had credibility. But if you come back sooner, you pick up on the momentum, because I think Kell has momentum right now. You know what I mean? I think people want to see him again. People are really impressed, even people that don't know him. This is an impressive performance, even despite the defeat. So you're going to come back with credibility no matter what. So coming back and taking advantage of the momentum, because, you know, a win brings you momentum, a good performance gives you momentum. Even this performance, despite the defeat, gives Kell some momentum. People want to see him again right now. You don't want to fall from people's memory by being out a year. You know, sometimes if you have no choice because of the injury, you have no choice. You start over when you come back.
And just finally, Paulie, if you got a message you could send to Kell?
I want to give him a hug, man. I know what it's like to do this for a living. I know what it's like to fight and people not understand just how much we sacrifice, how much we do this. That amount of character Kell Brook showed, I understand it. I understand it. I can't even imagine how difficult it must be to be in there with that level of puncher and still have to stay calm enough, not panic, and execute that game plan. It takes a tremendous amount of character. It's one thing people don't understand in boxing is it's character in boxing, and I understand fully what character is in boxing, and Kell Brook showed me a ton of it tonight, a ton of it. And I came back here to give him a hug, but unfortunately he's at the hospital, so I give him my love.